Joint laxity goes by many names. You may hear it referred to as hypermobility, ligament laxity, or being double jointed. When it occurs in the entire body, it's referred to as generalized joint laxity. And while it occurs in 10% of the population, it isn't in and of itself an injury. It can, however, become the source of an injury or a lot of chronic pain, especially in musicians. If we remember back to basic biology, a ligament is a tough, fibrous cord that connects a bone to a bone. That's our joints. So joint or ligament laxity is what happens when the tough fibers of our ligaments are a little less tough and allow the joint to cave in a bit more than normal. This gives the illusion that our joint bends both directions, or that someone has two joints, which is where the term double jointed arose from. While ligaments are responsible for the connecting, they're less responsible for the stabilizing. That responsibility lies in our muscles. Remember once again back to basic biology, that every muscle has a buddy. They were called flexors and extensors. These two muscle buddies are responsible for stabilizing the joint. So let's take a look at a place where being double jointed or having joint laxity most often manifests itself in a musician. The fingers. And I'm about to blow your mind, there are actually no muscles in our fingers. I know, it's crazy. It's like little robot digits or something like that. But actually, the muscles that control the fingers are found in our hand and in our forearm. So if there are no muscles in our fingers, how are we going to be able to stabilize these tiny joints responsible for play? Every time we squeeze and make a fist or press down in our fingers, we're using our flexor muscles. When we spread and expand our fingers, we're engaging our extensor muscles. Most musicians maintain a fairly neutral to flexed position when playing our instruments. Our hands stay in a fairly natural state until they're asked to press down on a key or a string or a valve to create a pitch. When this happens, our flexor muscles activate and allow us to press down. For players with joint or ligament laxity, however, the knuckle in the joint will appear to collapse or double in, and this caves in on the work of the flexor muscle, which is no longer being asked to stabilize the joint. For players with joint or ligament laxity, this may lead to slower play, less finger dexterity, a muscle imbalance, or pain and swelling in the muscles and tendons and tissues of the hand and forearm. With these things coming into play, it may also allow for these players to have higher rates of repetitive strain injury. Joint laxity is most common in children and teenage girls. While kids are still growing and developing and therefore naturally a little more bendy, we as educators should take a little extra care with our beginning students to encourage proper hand positions. To encourage strength training and stability for those hard to get to finger joints, we've got a tool for sale in our online store suggested to us by Dr. Jeff Russell. Dr. Jeff Russell is this week's podcast guest, and he currently works with Ohio University marching band members on rehab and injury prevention. And he gave a presentation on generalized joint laxity and hypermobility at the 2019 Performing Arts Medicine Association's annual symposium. If you want more details on what joint laxity looks like in the musician, make sure you check out the podcast episode this Thursday. Remember, these videos are not intended as a diagnosis. What they are intended for is to give you a vocabulary and information so that you feel equipped and encouraged in prevention techniques, as well as conversations with students, teachers, and healthcare providers. If you are experiencing any sort of pain, whether it's from joint laxity, from overpracticing, or anything else, you should be seeking out the professional advice of a medical professional. Lastly, if you're finding any of these videos helpful or informative, please remember to subscribe, hit the like button, connect with us on all the platforms, our website, social media. We're the same name everywhere. Anyone can have a chance at joy in playing, and it's all about less pain and more music.